CA Murli Panjwani, along with my co-host CA Sanvi Ahuja, welcome you as we move to the final knowledge stream of Gnan Sangam 2025. As we now step into a subject that is redefining the way valuation professional thinks, the interaction of artificial intelligence, valuation, and transaction advisories. In today's dynamic landscape, we deal timeliness are shrinking, data volumes are exploding, and investors are expecting keeping rising. AI is no longer a futuristic tool. It has become a core enabler of speed, accuracy, and strategic insights. And that is why this session is extremely relevant because the future of valuation is not just about numbers, it is about intelligence applied to those numbers. I request our Vice Chairman of Kolhapur branch, CA Ashish Sevikari, to escort our today's speaker, CA Parag Kulkarni sir, and Vice Chairman of WIRC, CA Piyush Chandak sir, along with Regional Council member, CA Mangesh Gankar sir, on the dais. Please give them a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
I think दुपारचा चहा पोटात गेल्याशिवाय आवाज फुटणार नाही आहे. So actually it is a commendable thing that on a Sunday evening we still are interested in professional learnings and are present here even at 4:30, 5 o'clock on a Sunday to learn about new things in this conference. So it is a very heartening show. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Kolhapur branch of WIRC of ICAI led by Nitin for having this theme as a conference because we have a lot of conferences where we talk about the traditional areas of practice in audit, income tax, GST, etc. But this is a very rare conference where we have a blend of topics where there was of course the traditional areas like audit which we just had, but apart from that we had cyber security, we now have AI. Yesterday we had a few sessions which were very non-conventional, and friends, I think that is the need of the hour for our chartered accountant fraternity. आपण ट्रेडिशनल मॅनरमध्ये जी काही प्रॅक्टिस करतोय ती प्रॅक्टिस करणं आवश्यक आहे, नो डाऊट अबाउट इट. बट नाव वी हॅव टू लुक बियॉन्ड दोज ट्रेडिशनल एरियाज बिकॉज when with the advent of AI, I think Parag sir will agree with me, we now are not expected to just remain compliance officers. We are expected to be strategic advisors to our clients, and we need to use AI as our friend, philosopher and guide in that respect. Also, there are ample opportunities other than the traditional areas which chartered accountants are now working even in tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I'll just tell you one story. Last week, me and our professional development committee chairman Mangesh Kindre sir were in Goa, and we were discussing, we had a common friend who is actually a Nepalese resident. And he did his chartered accountancy from India. Of course, there is a chartered accountants institute in Nepal also, but he did his CA from the Indian institute. And he went to UK for a job. For a couple of years he did his job, नोकरी केली 2 वर्ष, आणि नंतर मग त्याला वाटलं की आपण आपला बिझनेस सेटअप करायला हवा, म्हणून त्यांनी अकाउंट्स आउटसोर्सिंगची कामं घ्यायला सुरुवात केली आणि ही त्यांनी यूकेत बसून सुरुवात केली. And today he has a team of more than 200 people working just doing accounting job of foreign clients. So I asked him कि अरे आप कैसे करते हो ये सब, because यूके में 200 लोग का ऑफिस चलाना, it's a costly affair. यूके में स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग ज़्यादा है, कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग ज़्यादा है, how do you manage it? His simple answer was, I have only 5 people working in the UK. बाकी 200 लोग सारे काठमांडू में काम करते हैं. So the moral of the story here is Now after COVID, it is not important where you sit. You can provide service if you have quality, if you have quality staff, if you have quality resources, if you have that vision. You know, you can have an outsourcing practice, a sprawling outsourcing practice here sitting at Kolhapur. You don't need, you just need to have a small front-end office, probably in Dubai or UK. You can go there, do some business development, and you know, you need to have that vision. That's it. So the key takeaway here is, you know, we need to look beyond our traditional areas of practice. And I think we are ending this conference with a very apt session on AI. And I'll not take much of a time because many people have already spoken on what we do at WIRC, what we do at the institute level. Let's hear the technical speaker for today. And I would like to welcome Parag sir for his session, because he is going to talk about AI and valuation along with transaction advisory. So it's a very interesting topic. Even I am waiting to hear from him. Let's welcome him. Thank you.
Today is a global multi-credential valuation professional who has built his expertise across India, US, UK and Singapore. CA Parag Kulkarni is a founder of the Unlock Future FinTech Private Limited, a modern valuation and the transaction advisory practice supporting clients across India, USA, UAE and Singapore. Academically, his achievements are remarkable. Chartered Accountant from India, CPA from USA, CA from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in England and Wales, Diploma in IFRS from ACCA, Executive Education from Harvard Business School, High Honors in the Finance from the NYU Stern School of Business. He has also a registered valuer with the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. And his work spans valuations, mergers, acquisitions, ESOP planning, complex equity instruments, transaction benchmarking, and strategic advisory for the founders, CFOs, and investors groups. He is also specialized in the ESOP valuation. What sets him apart is his ability to combine finance with the technology. Today, he brings to us not just valuation knowledge, but an advanced perspective on how AI is transforming mergers and acquisitions, deal making, and transaction advisory across the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming CA Parag Kulkarni sir to lead us into the future of the valuation with his session as using AI in valuation and transaction advisory.
माझा जन्म सांगलीतला आहे. इकडे येण्यामागचं कारण हे म्हणजे ह्या मातीशी असलेली जी नाळ आहे ते आहे. कोल्हापूरमध्ये पहिल्यांदाच आलो आहे ICIच्या पोडियमवर. सो नितीन साहेब आणि सगळ्या टीमला धन्यवाद की मला तुम्ही इथे बोलवलंत. I see through that each one of you who is sitting here for the last session, I add an incremental monetary value at the end of 1 hour. चहा प्यायला आपण एकदा भेटू, बरोबर आहे की नाही? परत परत भेटायचं असेल तर काहीतरी व्हॅल्यू ॲडिशन करायला लागेल. ह्याच सूत्रावरती मी माझी प्रॅक्टिस सुरू केली व्हॅल्युएशनमध्ये आणि आता तसंच चालू आहे. जोपर्यंत लोक ठीक करतात तोपर्यंत गोष्टी ऐकू. अभिषेक सर, रेखा मॅडम, घाणेकर साहेब, सगळे WIRC मधले दिग्गज लोक आहेत. ऑल ऑफ यू आर प्रेझेंट. थँक्यू सो मच फॉर कीपिंग पेशन्स टू सिट फॉर दिस सेशन. आणि मला तुम्ही परत नेणार आहात पुण्यात सर, त्याबद्दल पण खूप सारे धन्यवाद. The topic is AI in valuation and transaction advisory. So first let's understand what is the concept of transaction advisory. Anywhere where is a transaction, where a client seeks an advice, rather where a client feels the advice of ChatGPT is insufficient, the advice of Perplexities and other GPTs of the world is insufficient, the advices of the authors of the book written and printed are insufficient, that's where your role begins. And how you capitalize on the data which is flowing around you. How you capitalize on the models which are intellectually penetrated artificially. Which means now we are talking not just about the large language models, LLMs, but narrowed down vertical specific small language models. In next 6 months to 12 months, you can anticipate they will reside on your laptop. In next 24 months, you could be having your own set of small AI models in your office, which are specifically for you. Tax AI model, valuation AI model, and likewise. So the models that I will be presenting to you are cloud AI models, which are driven by the prowess of authentic data. The key is authentic data. When client comes to you, understand he equally possesses an access to the Googles of the world. The practice of chartered accountant will be as generic as the practice of general mediciner, where patient goes to a doctor and says, this is what I feel, and I searched on a Google, these are potential medicines, these are potential causes, but still I am here for you. And then doctor has to add some value, not only by writing a prescription that he doesn't understand, but truly by curing it. In the same sense, when client comes to you, you expect your position remains defendable despite the existence of AIs of the world, despite the possibilities of substitutions through technologies of the world, only when you bring something which is authentic on the table. So in today's world, I see two types of practices. And for today, we have agenda very simple. First, we will listen to the story of Jethalal and Tarak Mehta. Are all of you are aware about a web series or one TV serial called as Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma? Pata hai sabko, right? So our practice is similar to Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. So we are going to understand what that story is. AI has two different components, and often we all have been assuming automation of the practice is equal to AI integration of the practice. So we must all appreciate the automation is something different. For example, when the client email comes, the client email is analyzed and another reply is sent to the client is called as an automation. It is not a deep AI integration. So there are separate automation tools and there are separate AI tools, which truly brings in the intelligence. So the third layer is the intelligence. But to me, the fourth layer is most attractive. And I think for all of us, that is the critical component. That is the core of today's conversation. How to win contracts, expand practice, and obviously earn money. So the center of today's conversation is on earning the contracts, earning clientele, not just sitting here in Kolhapur, but even competing with some other parts of the world. So let's enter into the story of Jethalal and Tarak Mehta. So there are two chartered accountancy firms. One, Gada Advisors, which has principal partner Mr. Jethalal, Baga and Nattu Kaka. And then there is another firm which is led by Mr. Tarak Mehta, and in his team he has Dr. Bide, Professor Bide and Sodhi. So let's see how are they working. So typically a client Babita ji will call. Client ka call आएगा, बराबर ऐसे होता है. And then client asks you a question. बबीता जी जेठालाल को पूछ रही है, सर हमें फंडिंग चाहिए, डेट सिंडिकेशन करना है, इक्विटी लगाना है, या जीएसटी का कुछ प्रॉब्लम है. ऐसे ही होता है ना सवाल. पहले तो क्लाइंट का कॉल ऐसे ही आएगा. सो I'm a kind of person who want to appreciate the ground realities of our practice. ये बाकी तो ये सब AI वगैरह ऐसे हवा की बातें ठीक है, अरे यार मैं उसको कैसे implement करूँ वो बोलो, वो मैं implement कर से client कैसे acquire करूँ और मेरा practice कैसे बढ़ो वो बोलो, तो वो बात है important. तो बबीता जी कॉल करके बोलती है, सर आई एम स्टार्टिंग विथ medtech organization या कुछ नया organization है, can you help me raise the fund? Now typically and more oftenly people from Kolhapur would say that अरे ये M&A का काम है वो तो हम नहीं करते, इसके लिए आप कहाँ जाओ, मुंबई में जाओ, पूना में जाओ, दिल्ली में जाओ, अहमदाबाद में जाओ. या कभी कभी आप बोलोगे हम करते हैं, यानी फर्स्ट लेट द क्लाइंट कम इन, देन यू कोलैबोरेट विथ मे बी सम अदर सीएस ऑफ द अदर वर्ल्ड. ऐसे होता है ना टिपिकली. सो हाउ कैन वी ब्रेक दैट चेन इज इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड इवन यू मस्ट साउंड ऑथेंटिक, बिकॉज इफ when your clients are growing and if you are not capable or if you are differently capable, means obviously you are great in your GST work and audit work and direct tax work, but if you are not, if you haven't enabled yourself with the transaction advisory capabilities, then how would you serve them? It's not really possible even if you intend to serve them. So intentions are okay, but capacity and capability building is equally important. And one of the way of capacity building is through technology, and capability building is obviously by having the skilled labor force working for you, and in today's world obviously the AI, which is a vertically knowledgeable. So Babita ji says, can you help me understand from where can I raise the funding? Now usually what happens is Jethalal asks his article, just find who are the typical investors who are going to fund in this particular domain. But please understand, the access of Google is also available with Babita ji. So if you say the same thing, what your clients already know, they are obviously not going to give you a respect. And if you say the same thing, like for example, like there is a Y Combinator of 500 global, or typical 4-5 names that come on the roll, obviously there is not much appreciation here. So what are the relevant questions that client would want to understand? The relevance here is, the very first question is, okay, can you help me prepare the pitch deck? And today we have a lot of AI sources, like I don't know whether you had a chance to look at, but I can also share with you, there are sources like Beautiful.ai, Gamma AI, and multiple, like you just Google online, let's say pitch makers or slide makers, and you would get hundreds of tools. If access to those tools is also available with your customer, does it mean that you are deeply substituted in this activity? The answer to which is yes, unless you bring again substance on the table. And how would you bring substance on the table? By claiming the source of the data. Because when client has to, or you have to present it to investors, what you must bring on the table is a data that is authentic. So the source of the data, then the quality of articulation. Is the deck speaking the financial language? Is it resonating with the expectation of the investor? And is it really utilizable? Is it really useful for the intended use? So when the client is asking you, can you help me prepare a pitch deck, it is not asking you to just go on gamma.com or some beautiful.ai or some other 3-4 free tools available, or let's say ChatGPT, and come back with a presentation. It is basically asking you these questions, that please help me do something which on the basis of which the investments can be fetched. And when you go into the boardrooms or the investor rooms, you'll be able to prove with your data sources and rationalize the articulation and the storytelling. The relevant second question is, can you help me prepare a business plan? Often we all have at least one Excel file in our office which we use for submitting to the banks, such as CMA data. And then what we do, irrespective of the client, whether coming from the manufacturing or trading or service or hospitality or even the new age technologies, we use the same Excel, because the Excel has revenue, cost, profit, loan repayments, etc., and that's how you prepare your DCF model. So calculation, trust me, has already substituted through the automation workflow. You and I cannot compete in the process where we say, I can make better DCF model. The models are nothing but the Excel formulas. As you can write them, So does your peer. So do many others in the world. So as the world democratizes towards the fact that anything that can be automated will be automated, anything that is inefficient will be brought into the efficiency through either automation or intelligence, you and I cannot insulate from the fact that we must bring substance only through the authenticity, articulation, and logic. So one is the data source, second is the business logic, and third obviously are the calculations. And the third layer of this entire workflow in transaction advisory is obviously when client is calling you, asking you a question, and by the way, we will do that demo here in front of you, how we do that and how we are empowering people across now 26 nations in the world, specifically CPA firms, investment advisory firms, and I'll be very happy, to also empower you. So as we move ahead in the conversation, you would actually see the live demonstration of the entire transaction advisory that we are going to do today. So the Gamma Eyes and ChatGPTs may not be expert in Companies Act, may not be expert in IFRS or Income Tax Act. So the key lies in how you bring in and integrate the intelligence along with the rules and regulations of the city, rules and regulations of the geography, rules and regulations of the territory or the industries. That is the true content and that is a true relevant conclusion that clients are looking forward to. Can you present it well? Because somebody said that जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So obviously somebody also said that की खायचे दात वेगळे and दाखवायचे दात वेगळे. But I think we are on the verge of stage where we need to interpret and use these आम्ही ज्याला मराठीमध्ये म्हणी म्हणतो or phrases at the right time. We can't be choosy. Whenever we want to present well, we just present well, and whenever we don't want to present well, we don't present well. Your presentations must now to the extent of international standards. When our Prime Minister says that we need to achieve something like Big Four, see, you and I when join Big Four, we become a part of Big Four. And when you and I come out of the Big Four, we are no more Big Four. So ultimately, who is a Big Four? It's people like you and I. So don't segregate the fact that Big Fours are else and you are not. I think, like, who are the CAs who pass the exam are the CAs who don't pass the exam are still not CAs, but they may carry the same knowledge. So the key differences between the Big Fours and us always have been their presentation skills, their procedure, their governance, right, and their ability to continuously innovate, reinvest, do the capacity and capability building on a constant basis, right? So here is a chance because the democratization of knowledge, access to information and technology is now available with you. Let's move ahead and let's understand how the typical workflow looks like. So usually in case of Jethalal, he receives an email and some content is written inside the email, some content is written as an attachment to an email. Then his firm people download that and save in a folder, correct? Then they respond to it, the response is again on an email. The other party reads it and responds it. So again the content will come as a body of an email or again attachment as an email. Usually in collecting the relevant data from the client and performing the research analysis, even sometimes transforming the data which is received from the client into, let's say, your templates, it takes time. I call it as a copy-paste workflow. We do calculations in Excel, we do reports in Microsoft Word, and we do presentations in PowerPoints. And each time you get a feedback that I think we should revise the calculation. Let's say the growth rate needs a revision. Let's say the margin needs a revision. Let's say the revenue verticals needs addition. What happens? The entire calculation is revised. Consequently, your PPTs now must also be revised and your reports must also be revised. And how much time it usually takes for you to revise everything and then go back to the boardroom? It takes hours. And it includes a manual labor for a fact that you are going to do copy pasting. And sometimes those who are copy pasting, who are your colleagues and your articles, make human errors. That the content from the previous version is continued and the legacy error brings embarrassment. When your client calls and says, अरे सर ये थर्ड पेज पे तो आपने चेंज किया है पर सेवेंथ पेज पे चेंज नहीं हुआ है. Is it how the next generation of chartered accountants are going to work? And if the embarrassment happens once, it's okay, but it happens across one client, two clients, three clients, and then instead of we assuming it's my fault as a principal of the firm, we call our article student and says that it is your fault. Boss, we are asking him to perform a work which actually can be automated. So the copy paste workflow continues, which includes again the revision and forecasting, determining valuation models, and likewise, and you can just imagine the frustration that happens when there are multiple versions. So what we will do is now, let's look at how the other firm, better firms, are deploying these tools, and you are only inch away from calling yourself better. You just need a secret formula, right? How to do that? Because I'm sure that each one of you intend to achieve this, except for the fact you do not know the exact source code. You still know that there are tools which are in existence, but you still do not know, अच्छा अरे पर उसको use कैसा करे, क्या करूँ क्या मैं वो तो बोलो. Exactly, you please tell me, Parag, if you are here now, give me a solution on the basis of which here is my client's call and here is the client output. That kind of automation should happen. So let's first understand how to build a pitch deck. And I had, couple of friends here, when I was coming, I was talking to them, and they said, Parag, it's better if you prove me in the session, then we will say, okay, मतलब क्या है यार, नहीं तो ये तो theory हो गया, right? तो मज़ा नहीं आएगा. So what we will do is I'll demonstrate to you how these things are created. Anyone wants to volunteer and we can actually create a pitch deck for you. So while we were serving, let's say, countries like Iran, Japan, South Korea, these people wanted their reports in their language. So we built something which now serves 101 languages of the world. Now let's demonstrate for you how these pitch decks are written, the content, the quality, and how instantly you can serve customers. So would any one of you want to be a protagonist of this case and contribute? Abhishek sir, would you like contributing? Yes. So maybe I'll just type here, I run a company in, Abhishek sir, this.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sure, perfect. So let's do the demonstration.
Hello.
So by the way, now let's both of us give a disclaimer. Sir, we are not a magician and there is no fix, right? You
Right.
never were aware that I will do the cold call on you, and because just I know you, I just said if you could contribute, right?
Yes.
So there is no fixing which has happened.
Not
And-
at all.
Yeah. So tell me, sir, a company of your client or of your choice, any idea that you want to work on, or likewise?
So as we are in Kolhapur,
Yeah.
can we go for manufacturing companies?
Of course, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So any specific manufacturing, because see, what I would want to understand is what kind of manufacturing, and then who are your target consumers, and how you are different from your competitors. I think these three things are must for me to understand before I take up the work.
I will take companion Anil Chikodi
Please.
sir.
Sure, sure.
Yes. So we both of, so that it is very clear that there is no match fixing.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Which manufacturing company would like to suggest?
Here are a lot of steel casting manufacturing companies which are also in exports as well.
Sure. So I would like
Parag,
obviously. So
I'll request you to please zoom the
Yeah.
screen.
is it now legible?
Yeah. Better.
Okay. So I run a company in steel casting manufacturing. Okay. And it has, say, some 40% or 60% export. How much?
60% you can say.
Okay. 60% export. Target consumers are, who are your typical consumers or customers?
In US, UK,
No, that's the location, but like, what do they do? They are into what
vehicle-
kind of manufacturing or what activity?
Vehicle manufacturing.
Okay.
Automobile manufacturing.
So can I write that they are auto manufacturers in USA, UK as well as in India?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then why do they buy it from you? How are you different from, let's say, because you know your company versus let's say somebody else in Kolhapur or let's say in Karnataka doing the same thing, but still they come to you. What is the mode? Is it just the pricing on the basis of which they are buying it from you, or is it a particular kind of quality? Is there any technical description that you would want me to give as an input?
Yes. There are types of cylinder heads which are manufactured here, which require very intricate and specifically designed, and you can say accuracy is more required, for which this company is specialized for.
Can I call it as a precision manufacturing?
Precision manufacture, you can call it.
Okay. So, by the way, I'm just giving these three things. Do you want to give name to this company? Some, common name or any hallucinated name?
Mahalakshmi. Shri
Okay.
Mahalakshmi.
Shri Mahalakshmi Forging Limited?
Yes, you can.
I don't know, there could be another company in this name, but by the way, okay. Private Limited, okay. So, so now what I'm showing is called as a agentic AI workflow, and also explain around you exactly, what do I mean when I say this. Like in our office when we recruit people, we have people, let's say, who are graduated from universities and CAs, okay, yeah, and so yeah, so maybe all of you just look at
Hello.
for the time.
Parag, can
Yeah.
you tell what exactly is happening background
Yeah.
when you give the
That's
prompt?
exactly what I'm trying to explain, and hence I said look at me instead of looking there, because as it's a agentic AI workflow, it has given its answer in 15 seconds. So what you and I would have invested, let's say 4 or 5 days in performing the research, it is already done. And trust me, I'm going to show you the content as well. But please look at me so that I can explain you how we do that and what is the next wave of 2.0 chartered accountancy. This is called as the orchestration of AI agentic workflow. So we started it so I started working on this in year 2022 around or so. And I'll tell you, I'll draw an analogy and explain you what exactly happens inside the brain when we demonstrate this. To reach those 15-second conclusion, obviously there is a lot of back-end work. So when people graduate from university and when you hire them, do you just tell them, okay, fine, now you have a certificate of graduation, you sit on this computer and do the work? They still take some time, right, to understand what exactly you expect from, what you are expecting from them, maybe the output format or etc. And then they start working. And there are people who are graduated in different subjects. Like somebody is graduated in science, somebody graduated in, like CA, some MBAs, some in marketing. So people from different background are there, which means they have different capacity, like the LLM model has. Like when people ask me, Acha Parag, what kind of LLM models do you use? Now ChatGPT 5.1 model is also there. Then Google's Gemini 2.5 and 3 models are also there, and some India basis models are there. But they are graduated in different universities having different capacities. The next level is the fine tuning of it, and also make them learn on the basis of what exactly you do. So the training is necessary. The training of the model is required. Also the training should happen on a relevant data, and that's the key. It cannot be on a generic data. So what you see here is the combination of hundreds of AI models that work here, by the way. Hundreds of AI models, by the way, work. When you saw this, getting concluded in 15 seconds. So, yeah, I think, so let's just, go inside and let's see how it looks. Maybe I'll show you something which is extremely important. Yeah, let's read this. Take your time and tell me whether this really makes sense.
It is showing customer pain point, cost of problem, and current solutions for that.
Yeah. So imagine when client talks to me, and while we are going into the Zoom call or when we are on call, we are basically asking him relevant questions. We are typing in, and then we are getting talking points which are significantly better than maybe any other transaction advisory provider who can come on the call and speak. Now, while client speaks to me, and by the way, like I said, this is domain specific knowledge. So if you go today and write on ChatGPT, give me a pitch deck for, let's say, the same prompt that we used, you would still get something, but it won't be as reflecting depth as you are getting it now here, right? So I just demonstrated very quickly how the world is changing and why should you embrace such kind of technologies very fast. I mean, we can go on in the content, but do you think, I mean, after reading this, do you think this is making some sense? Sir, you can confirm that? It does? Okay. Abhishek sir, do you think it is making some sense?
Absolutely what the client would want whenever he is discussing with the chartered accountant and whenever he is handing over the work of a project finance or strategic investment. This is exactly what client is looking for.
So winning client begins here. You earn the trust of the client only when you demonstrate your language is significantly better than every other person he talks to. Imagine when the promoter of Sri Mahalakshmi Forging Private Limited would talk to me, I'll be talking about, okay, what are typical challenges that we must address while writing the pitch deck? What are typical, the costs which are getting incurred, and then how current solutions are, planned vis-a-vis Sri Mahalakshmi's solutions are different. And this is, lying down how Sri Mahalakshmi Forging offers high precision steel casting, etc. is getting covered. And this is just the textual content. By the way, like I said, the presentation is important. So what we have done is, we have also deployed AI and automation in this, and or just one single click, you change the presentation. You can change the color coding, etc. Like for example, if I have to, let's say, change this color, not an issue. If I want to change the background, I just click one click, and everything is changed. This is instant. It has to be instant. And the more power comes when you do not share this with your client as an attachment, but you give them access. So, and let me narrate, Abhishek sir, do you want to speak something? No. Yeah. So, let me narrate you one of the story of one of the CAs, how he worked and, exactly what happened when he served his clients. So, by the way, he came back to me and said, when I am giving access to the client, can I also revoke the access of the client? And we said, yes, you can also revoke the access of the client. So he told the client, okay, fine, we are giving you access for a month, okay? And you can revise the content, you can change the content. Like for example, if you want to write something, as you can see here, see, I'm just typing, and you can update that content. But I am going to charge you first fee, upfront fee, for giving you this. And every month I am going to charge you additional fee until you want the continued access. So he converted his practice into a subscription model, and now he has control over what he is sharing. The very fact that when client stops the payment, you stop their access, and that's how he converted his existing high fixed cost model into the kind of relative subscription model, which was affordable. He was able to recruit clients with lesser affordability because the time took for him to create and build this, and this is just only 2% of the capabilities that I'm showing you. Okay, so his cost of creation was low, his conclusions were up to the mark, and that's how he has been serving. See, the best part comes when he comes back and says, sir, गाड़ी बुक किया, तो So I think those monetary realizations and validations are more important. So what we typically cover is the back end hundreds of agents which are fine-tuned and trained, they go through 6 processes. They go through ideation process, they go through problem and solution matrix, because they have been trained to understand in different industries what are different problems and what are different challenges. Then they perform the market research on the basis of authentic data. We have data of 80,000 listed entities sourcing live from 90 plus stock exchanges. We have data of these companies segregated into 107 sectors, 30,605 investors, and likewise, so which I'll also show you. But yes, then it ensures that the language that comes up is an investor language, and then there is a slide-wise commentary, and it's instant. So the beauty is when you say, okay, fine, what I need is not just this, but I'm also going to generate a script, because what people need is a script to present. So one is a presentation. Now I've just clicked generate script, and it takes some time, by the way. Yeah, so it's done, and let me show you this. I hope it's visible, right? So this is what you send to your client. You are sending not just the presentation, but you are also helping clients with the script, and people love it. They get a talking point. They're like, oh wow, good, I'm happy. My my CA has done such a great job. Now it's okay, you need not send this to him in 20 seconds. You can take still 4 days to send him, but he will feel happy about it. Trust me. Okay. So let's come back. Let me take you to the next thing. The very next question is, okay, fine. Now in the transaction advisory, who are my buyers? Who are the takers? Who is going to buy my manufacturing setup? Or let's say, who is going to buy my startup or a company? So the second layer of transaction advisory starts with investors. And we realize, sir, not a single Indian company originally created, Indian entity is capable to serve this huge market gap. There are companies like PitchBook, which are again non-Indian companies. They charge 20,000 USD per annum per seat. There are companies like S&P Capital IQ. They charge 15,000 USD per annum per seat. So now you tell me, if I ask you to take subscription of some 47 or let's say $37,000 per annum, you would say, Parag, I'm running out of my practice budget, because then my clients may not need it, because clients are not going to pay me the relative amount. So after identifying this gap, we realize that there is a matchmaking which is necessary, and hence we build this investor intelligence platform, and this is how we are using it. How are we getting this deal done is exactly what I am going to show it to you. So let me show you now the investor intelligence platform that we have. Yeah. So just a second. Just give me a second. Let me just navigate to the platform to show you the data of investors, and we will again do this with the help of any one of you want to participate or volunteer. So what we have done is we realized we need a data of investors who really invest, because when you talk to investors, there are few investors who invest in early stage, and there are few investors who invest only at a later stage. Like if you are going to, let's say, a series A investor, when you actually are at a seed level, then he is not going to entertain you. So your efforts are in when. For a matchmaking, the other party should also be appreciative that, okay, fine, or they must have a risk appetite of investing in an industry in which you are and at a stage at which you are. Correct?
Parag, I'd like to stop you here. Can you just show Steel Precision Manufacturing Company? Which are the competitors? Who are the competitors for? Can you show here?
I can do that.
Yeah.
For steel manufacturing?
Yeah, the similar example of Mahalakshmi, Sri Mahalakshmi, what we
Sure.
were talking.
Let's do that. So let me just take you to the filter here. And so by the way, there are 107 sectors. And so let me just show you how it happens. Okay, steel manufacturers. So what I do is I type here steel. As you can see, basic material steel. I have added here for search. I am reviewing all companies. So this is a data set of, sir, 80,000 plus listed entities across the world. So I'm just applying steel, and let me also write forging if I have that. May not be. So let's go with the steel first. So in the basic materials I see steel, and maybe let me look at the manufacturers. Yeah. So again in the manufacturer, do you want to add any industrial manufacturer here? Is it visible?
No, you have to zoom a bit.
Okay. So manufacturer, metal fabrications, maybe I'll add just to show you, I mean, how we analyze that, and also try to show you from the private sector as well. But I'm just doing it from the public sector. So by the way, I haven't selected the country. So what you can see here, there are companies from across the world, from their stock exchanges, industries, manufacturing metal. This is what they have been written, steel, etc. Like Kalyani Steels is identified. So I'm just selecting it. Okay. So Jay Balaji Industries Limited is again in steel. By the way,
Am I seeing that Kirloskar COI?
Do you want to search for Kirloskar specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kirloskar Industries also we can add. Do you want me to add this?
Yeah, I think so. It is based out of Kolhapur.
Yeah, so we can add that. So Kirloskar Ferrous is also there, Kirloskar Industries are also there. And we also show you, so this is the data that we will fetch from NSE, but it is listed on both BSE as well. We have choice to fetch data from either NSE or BSE now. So I'm just selecting, the NSE for the time being.
Kirloskar Steel is there, KSL.
Okay, so Kirloskar Steel is not classified here because I selected that industry, so it is not coming. So only for the timing I am showing you.
Yeah.
Yes, you can select basically companies. So this is just a sample. Let me just add few data points here and run the analysis. So what happens here is, now instead of investor intelligence, by the way, I am here in the comps. It is called as a comparable companies. And let me tell you how we utilize it. The comparable companies are primarily utilized to look at how these companies are performing in terms of their efficiency, such as what is their working capital, how are their margins, and then while the retainership contracts are acquired for, let's say, companies here, you give them, let's say, quarterly benchmarking. Just a second, let me take you to Screener Analytics first. Yeah. So now these are, let's say, the companies. Just a second, let me just make the light mode and come back. Yeah. So this is the comparable analysis. Now let's say, for example, if I have to choose only Kirloskar, okay, and look at their trend, I am going to deselect others. Okay, just a second. Let me deselect others. Yeah. And instantly you get data of Kirloskar from year 2005 onwards. You can see here. See, huge data. So this was balance sheet, this is income statement of Kirloskar. So what happens is, instantly you can look at the trend, you can also look at the ratios. So this is the trend ratios of this company over a period. And I can also show you on just one click, you can download it in Excel. So like once I click here, download Excel, it gets downloaded. And you can utilize it. See this, instant. Right? I hope I was able to demonstrate the utility. And then obviously you may want to add companies and do the comparable analysis. So let me add comparable analysis here as well, because that makes sense. That basically reflects how the industry is performing. So if I go to, let's say, efficiency ratios, I could sense that, okay, the companies are behaving differently in terms of the receivables, in terms of inventory days and etc. And this is how you benchmark. But the best part is when you enter the boardroom with confidence, not with the static PPTs, but with the dynamism. And when one of the board member like Abhishek sir asked me a question, instantly you are able to answer saying that, okay, this is what it looks, and draw inferences. That's a CA practice 2.0, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, data is huge, so we can go back and look at it. But let me come back and show you how you work on a private space, because in private equity what happens, people do not have access and insights into who are the investors to approach to and whether this is the right investor or not. So there are different investors, as you can see, and we can also have the filter. Maybe here I would say in manufacturing, industrial goods and manufacturing I'm selecting as a sector, and let's say the investment stage is, let's say, series A. And if I want to select a country also, I can select that, let's say India. And now let me do apply those filters. Now out of the set of 30,605 investors, you would understand, okay fine, who are the investors who are really investing in such kinds of companies? Because then the propensity of converting that investor to invest in your company is higher. So again, you know, there are how many? 440 investors who have invested in companies in manufacturing at series A level. Okay, and then you can basically select those companies, you can add them into comparison. Like I'm just adding few companies just to Sequoia, Tiger Global compare. Maybe let me add one more company here. Let's say Bloom, and do the comparison. So then we also are able to understand, okay fine, what kind of investments have they made, then what are the what is the geo spread, what are the top sectors in which, you know, these investors have been investing, in how many investments were they the lead investors. Like you can see here, Tiger Global have been the lead investor in most of the cases, and likewise. Yeah. You can then also go deep dive into the investor. Like here we are looking at, let's say Bloom, or let's say we can look at the Excel and try to understand, okay, what in this geography, what are the investments, in other which companies have they invested. If you want to look at that company and the kind of portfolio, what kind of series has happened, you click that company. So we go here to this particular company, company details, then who are the key people. Now we also get access, you know, to people who are founders. If I click on this, it will navigate me to their LinkedIn. So if I want to connect with or collaborate with these people, I can do that. So I just click here.
Wonderful.
See, yeah, it is taking me to that person.
Parag, since Rekha madam is from forensic, she wants to know what is the authenticity of this data.
Sure.
And whether it is printed in digital media, or from where you are taking that.
So I'm so happy that, you know, you have asked me this question.
No,
because
Rekha madam has asked.
Yeah, Rekha madam, thank you so much for asking me the question, because pudding of the proof lies in when you demonstrate you know, the authenticity and not just articulate it. So, you know, let me prove it. My request is, if I prove what is desired, I would want a good round of applause, you know, not for me, but for somebody who is Indian Chartered Accountant, has dreamt of in young age and has achieved it, and we are going marching. And trust me, people, we were so happy that we got clients from China. So this happened very recently, that we are able to create something and sell it to Chinese, which never thought of. So let's go to the authenticity of the data. Now this is one of the company which is Cornerstone, and this is the data source. Cornerstone brings system agents to Salesforce agents, etc. And all those news are segregated into different types. So maybe it may not be visible to you, but let me read all the types. We have segregated the data sources into few types, such as business partnership, new product announcements, company announcements, other regulatory approval, M&A, key people, and award. So now let me click, let's say, would you want to select a particular category here?
Business partnership.
Business partnership. So then you would see how many news do we have. So on business partnership, we have 10 sources out of 20, and these are, you know, these sources. We have highlighted the key, and let me, for example, showcase you. Now this is a business partnership between Salesforce and Cornerstone. Once I click here, it takes you to the source.
Oh wow! Friends, big round of applause for Parag.
Thank you, sir. So again, what is the essence of this conversation? The essence of this conversation is, when you do your transaction advisory, you would be questioned at every step of a deal making. And the embarrassment should not happen just because some assumptions were haywire or irrational. The skepticism that the previous speaker talked about, which you bring in an audit, must brought in the entire pool of services that you are offering. Because as a chartered accountant, it's not enough to work on calculators, it's not enough, you know, to work on the documentation. What is more relevant is inferences through the authenticity of data. So this was about the deals and intelligence. The next layer is, okay, who are the private players in the same space who have raised money and what was their multiple. So let me repeat, what were the stages of transaction advisory? First, Babita ji called Jethalal and said, this is what I want to do. And then on a call, you started speaking Babita ji's language. Basically, we started speaking the language of our client. And then we demonstrated the pitch deck. Then we looked at some comparable peers from the listed side. We also looked at the investors. The next layer is, we must also look at the private players. How are they funded? Who are the competitors? So let's go there. Let me go to the next layer of deal search. Now let me again select few sectors here. Maybe some different sectors we can select. Any like, I think now the talk of the town is on the AI. Or do you want me to, let's say, search for or look for companies and their multiples, let's say in the AI agentic environment, or any other kind of company that you want to look at? Quickly? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether sugar something is there. No. I'm just trying to see whether I can bring some relevance to this geography. But I think I'll go ahead with agentic AI. Yeah. Sorry? Okay, so I have been asked to look at, let's say, the real estate. So real estate also includes many sub-classifications. Real estate and infrastructure developers, real estate and constructions, real estate and construction tech, real estate brokers, real estate funds, real estate information technology, real estate marketing agency. So you tell me what should I select? And there are multiple other sub-segments. Because see, if you are brick and mortar company into real estate, the investor is going to value it differently versus if you are a technology company in the real estate. Correct? One is a capital intensive, another is a asset light model. So do you want to choose asset heavy or asset light? Construction. So real estate construction is what I have been asked. So real estate infrastructure developers or real estate and construction is what I am selecting. And how your company is it? Company like a matured company or very early stage company? Matured company. So the company stage, maybe I am considering funding raised. Do you want to look at companies only from India or the global companies? Only from India. So in countries, let's say, let me select India. So I'm applying those filters and let's see if we have data. So we have data of two companies which are in the private space, Mayfair Housing and Adhiraj Constructions. So let's add them and let's analyze. As you can see here, these companies have raised some money, and if I go to, let's say, company details, you would also understand who are these people, what is typical revenue that they had, what was the revenue multiple that we observed, the margin score is higher, who are the founders, co-founders. Not always we have their LinkedIn sources, but like for CEO we have the access, but for co-founders we do not have. And then again the recent news are also there. We can also look at the competitors. Now let's see the list of competitors. So on a one click you also get a list of competitors here. If your client is, let's say, in real estate and construction, now because of access to such data points, you immediately get access to the broader industry. And then now you can use these companies, some of which are listed, to go to the the screener for the listed companies and look at their revenue multiple, EBITDA multiple, and likewise. At a broad level, are you able to appreciate that, okay, there's a lot of automation and intelligence that can be brought in so that I can skip on the workflow? Because if you have imagined, let's say, step 1, step 2, step 3, you would be able to appreciate the process until step 10, correct? So I will not take you through the line by line steps. Okay, so what I can do now is, I can take you to the maybe the finalization. This is how, by the way, the multiples would look like when you present to the board the conclusions. How the report would look like, and let me demonstrate this. Now in this case, this is how you are going to present report to your client, which is instant. So by the way, the currency chosen is INR and then the rounding of is crore. Imagine the calculations that you have done are in absolute Excel. But then investor comes, let's say, from US and he says, no, I don't want report in INR crore, I want it in USD million. What would be your typical workflow? You would go back, change the Excel, correct? You will divide it by 10 raised to 6 to convert it into million, and then again copy the content which is now into USD million into your PPTs and the Word files. So instead what happens is the next generation chartered accountants should just click here like I have converted the currency and come back to the report and say okay, the entire content, see now it is changed everywhere, not just at one place. It is instant. Because even putting human to do any activity that can be automated is inefficient practice workflow of a chartered accountancy office. So I hope again you are able to appreciate this fact. But let me do one thing, let me go back, because you would present, okay, when you are presenting it to the board and etc. I am clicking on generate report. It takes some 3 to 5 seconds and I'll show you how the report looks. So you have seen the pitch deck, you have seen detailed dashboards, and if you want I can show you some of them as well. You have also seen the kind of PDF beautiful report, but ultimately you would also need something which is like this, okay, and I'll just click on download. By the way, the report is downloaded. Let me show you how the report looks. Now you tell me how much additional time would I take, okay, to imagine the data, or let's say source the data from the client with the help of AI or technology, put inside and then generate the report. And if I can take, let's say, half day to generate how many? This is a 33-page report, by the way, written as if, and by the way, if you read, it has given the references to even the Ind AS and IFRS and even international valuation standards. I hope this is making some sense. So I'm going to take a pause here because I appreciate your patience. It's already 4:47, and then open the forum for any Q&A. We can move ahead and have this conversation for a number of time, but I must appreciate patience of Rekha Madam and Abhishek sir, who are my Sarthi today in this Mahabharat, who are going to take me back to Pune. So yeah, that's it. And as promised, sorry. You are enjoying the session. Okay, I'm happy that that at least some of you feel there is some tangible value addition that has happened, because see, ultimately what happens if you see one of your peer doing this and empowering you to do this, you would also feel at least there is some aspiration instead of intimidation that would happen, that अरे आम्हाला पण जमेल का, तर सगळ्यांना सगळं जमेल, ती काही काळजी करू नका. आणि मी हे पण एक तुम्हाला देतो ज्यांना हे सगळं करायचं आहे ना, because I know always at the end of the session typically people say की अरे यार आम्हाला परत एकदा ॲक्सेस देशील काय सगळ्याचं, तर हा QR कोड आहे, एक 48 तासासाठी तुम्हाला मी सगळ्यांना ॲक्सेस देतो, वापरा, काही फीडबॅक असेल तर द्या. अँड वी शुड को क्रिएट दिस एंटायर इकोसिस्टम. या या तो HDMI चा काहीतरी इश्यू आहे, त्यांना म्हणा फक्त.
So this particular thing requires a lot of technical data compilation. Then how have you solved the hallucination problem here?
Yeah, so let me repeat the question. The question is, when the AI models are implemented, they are behaviorally, they are as equal as human. And as humans can imagine differently, AIs can do the same thing. We call it as a hallucination. The problem of hallucination originates when it goes beyond our control. So I'll tell you, as a human, when I can eat in this plate, but if you offer me so much to eat, would it be digestible to me? Answer is no. So the core of hallucination originates with two facts. One is, you ask him to process beyond his capabilities, or secondly, you give him an input which is less authentic. So we solved it in a modular manner. First, the data must be authentic, and hence access of live data from 80,000 companies from 90 plus stock exchanges, of 30,605 investors segregated into 637 sectors, 50,000 plus deals, 20,000 plus companies. This is something which is not easily digestible. So we call something called as a labeling in the AI world. So you need to label. When you receive a piece of paper, you label it. Okay, this information means this is related to steel, this is related to manufacturing, so something related to tech. And that's how you create the entire mind map. So it's a huge, by the way, it's a huge work, but yes, it must be done in order to reduce the less authenticity or the hallucination part. Secondly, when you ask it to process, you must ask it to process in batches. So though, as you can see, it is called as AI orchestration. So like when we prepared the pitch deck, it came up in 15 seconds. But like I said, we deployed 100 plus agents. So instead of asking one ChatGPT prompt, like otherwise you would do, you will go to ChatGPT and say, can you please help me prepare the pitch deck for Sri Mahalakshmi Private Limited, which is into forging, with a single prompt. And then one agent works on it. Now imagine, even that agent is just graduated from university. It is not fine-tuned, it is not rightly trained. As against it, when you have hundreds of agents who are not just graduated, they are also fine-tuned, they are also trained, and then they work simultaneously to build something in 15 seconds. To that extent, hallucination is reduced. And I'll tell you one more thing, because this answer is equally important. Investment in authentic data source is the key. So we are also now additionally partnering with world's best research organization to bring in the data, and I think in next 6 months or so you will see those announcements coming from us.
So one more thing, so this data is getting updated on a real-time basis, or how are you working on the data in the back end? Because for valuation, for competition, etc., the examples that you showed, it requires a lot of real-time updation of the data. So how are you working on it?
Let's take example of revenue multiple. When the stock market is open, the prices are moving. So today's stock price, I mean today is not a trading day, but assume today's stock price would be different than tomorrow's stock price, which means if the valuation date is today, your revenue multiple is X. But if valuation date is of tomorrow or something in the past, your valuation multiple would be X plus Y or X minus Y. If you have observed me categorically, I showed you while I was sourcing data of Kirloskar, I said the company is listed on 2 stock exchanges, NSE as well as BSE, and I selected NSE. At that point in time, when I selected source data, the API call was made. So we actually source the data at a point in time, because the stock prices are real, I mean they are calculated in real time. We usually take, I mean we are not fetching data in real time, we are fetching data at a lapse of 1 day, which means the yesterday's closing price will be captured as a benchmark. So for all listed company, data capture happens only when you raise a query and not otherwise. On contrary, for private companies, obviously the data is not available real time, and hence they are updated on a weekly or monthly basis as deals are progressed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any question anyone has? Acha, QR code, okay, just a second. Yeah. So just scan it, enjoy the application. Acha, okay, yes, sure. So we will close this QR code maybe in next 5-10 minutes or so. So better, because otherwise what happens, the QR code can go anywhere in the world, and then they will just, I mean the people will get free access. So we don't want anybody from the world just to come on the platform and increase the population on the site. Because again, this is the CA Institute, I come from this field, all of you are my professional brothers. I just thought it makes a lot of sense to welcome you, make you participate in this entire story and help you do it yourself. So with this, do I have permission to end the conversation?
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such a powerful and forward-thinking perspective. Your insights have not only clarified the evolving role of AI in valuation, but have also inspired us to rethink how approach professional judgments in tech-driven era. We now request Vice Chairman Ashish Sevekari sir to kindly felicitate our distinguished speaker CA Parag Kulkarni sir as a token of our gratitude and appreciation. Kindly have a huge round of applause. On behalf of Kolhapur branch of WIRC of ICAI, we extend our sincere thanks to CA Parag Kulkarni sir for giving us a powerful glimpse to the future of valuation with AI-driven advisory. I also thank to CA Mangesh Ganekar sir for being here with us. A warm thanks to CA Ashish Savekari sir for being a part of this enrichment. I officially conclude the session is over.